Into the Nexus is a production of amove.tv. Bookmark Amove TV for other great video games and eSports podcasts. Into the Nexus is sponsored by listeners like you via patreon.com/ITN. That rockin' music can mean only one thing. It's time for a new Into the Nexus. Welcome back, everyone. I'm Garrett Weinzierl. I'm sitting here as always with Kyle Fergusson. Just the two of us. And there's a lot to talk about. Yeah. Oh, thank you, sir. Oh, I didn't.
I'm always here to back you up, man.
I know you're better than I think most folks with the picking up the lyrics. So I should have trusted you there.
Just don't ask me the name of the artist. Then we're done.
I couldn't actually tell you that one either. But whatever the case is, there's a lot to talk about today, dude.
Oh, yes, there is, dude. I am so excited. Oh, my goodness. I have forgotten how much I need balance in my life. That's a loaded statement.
I was about to say that. I feel like you're not talking about Heroes of the Storm anymore.
I mean, altogether, man, this has been a delight because Deckard Cain didn't really mix things up. And as a support and tank player, I love the puzzles. That's what I'm here to solve. And I like watching you guys really kick butt when I'm supporting and peeling for you. And when that doesn't change, when that lineup isn't different after about 6 weeks, I start to struggle and I go into quick match man because there I'm fighting like really good Tyrandas and Colossal Smash variants and just all sorts of weird stuff. By the way, again, quick match folk, you guys are amazing. You guys are amazing Tyrandas, Tracers, what have you, Zools. Play my Hero League, please. I don't care if you pick those heroes. I know we all get a little grumpy in there about our meta picks, but you guys are really good. I want to see you in here, and that's what I love about these balance times is everything gets mixed up. We're not sure what's good anymore, and this patch in particular is exquisite. It is beautiful. It has so much forethought. And it really thinks about the reaction of balance as a whole. We're not just nerfing one thing to get rid of it because it's top. We're nerfing the next thing below that so we don't all dive onto that afterwards. It's so elegant.
Yes, it is. And it's going to be basically the only thing we talk about on today's show. Once we took a look at it, you and I had talked earlier today, and we're just like, is this the show? Because I'm pretty sure this is the show. The answer is yes. So the order we'll be going in is we're going to talk about supports, the nerfs, and the buffs. Then we're going to talk about changes to what we would consider meta heroes outside of supports. Then we're going to talk about reworks. Then we're going to move into and Tychus. And the very end, don't worry, we are going to also mention that Diablo rework, which got a video just a couple of hours ago. So we're not going to skip that. But let's kick it off with this week's Heroes of the Storm news with I'm not using the one with Deckard's sample in it because we've used it for like a month straight. I'm going to use, let's go with a Kael'thas.
We're on, boys! Ha-ha! Let's liven up this place!
The moment is upon us.
Yes, I'd mana tap that.
I'm not so sure I would actually mana tap these Kael'thas changes, but anyways, we'll get to that in a bit. Let's start with supports. Like we said, man, you want to start with the nerfs?
Yes, yeah, because we have the two main duders sitting on top for quite a while now.
I would argue the three, and one of them's a dudette. Because Lily's also kind of filed in here.
Yeah, that's a weird one, right? That win rate is fantastic and needed to be reacted to, but it's in our old style. Or our style from our last balance where it's all popularity and not exactly win rates, or actually the other way around, win rates, not popularity. So interesting on the Lily front. But first and foremost, Malfurion, Stukov, they have been nerfed. Malfurion is almost all just stats, which speaks to HGC power. And Stukov is getting actually hit pretty hard.
Quite hard. Let's dive in the nitty gritty. The healing was reduced on activating bio kill switch. Relatively small in the grand scheme of things. Some adjustments are surprisingly major. not just on Stukov, but throughout this patch. But it's from 475 down to 435. That adds up being a little over an 8% reduction, which adds up over the course of the game, but is one of the tamer changes we're going to talk about here on this one hero. Lurking Arm got 2 seconds added onto its cooldown, and then we get into talents. Growing Infestation. The additional cooldown duration was increased from 4 to 5 seconds. One good spread. The mana restoration was reduced from 30 to 10, Kyle.
Yes.
10. That is a 66.6% reduction. That's ridiculous.
If you're a Stukov man out there, you've known for a while that your heroics are just bonus E abilities, and your real heroic is Lurking Arm on your E. You are now at a 15-second cooldown if you take Growing Infestation. So they're really trying to push you out of that by making you perform better infestations, better Lurking Arms, or missing out on that opportunity to get a good Lurking Arm because you cast it too recently. I mean, it's a pretty big blow to ease of use. And that's odd on Stukov because he's one of our few early picks, and gosh, certainly feels like one of our supports that our support players right now are eager to play no matter the league.
Yeah, you're right, and I don't think this goes too far, but I would like to just for a second put on our slippery slope hats and mention after the Malfurion change, I don't see anyone rushing to play Malfurion. This kind of stuff concerns me a little bit.
It's a wall. It's fascinating. There is a line you cross at Diamond 1 into Masters where you see Malfurions and Tracers all the time and Genjis and all sorts of stuff. You see the Hanzos everywhere in Diamond, but the second you get into that Masters range, the Malfurions just crop out of nowhere.
Yeah. So that is not what I'm seeing. So to me, it's like Lili and Stukov. That's kind of the two most seen supports in my league, and I'm just kind of entertaining this thought, but it is mildly concerning to see stuff like this happen to Stukov, stuff like this happen to Lili after what it at least seems to me as a rather large drop off in Malfurion play.
What I do wonder is if one good spread, the level 4 talent that went from that 30 mana restoration to a 10. So your healing pathogen is now losing you 30 mana per cast, whereas originally, back on release, you got everything back, it cost you 0. Is that impactful in the lower leagues where we're not doing rotations, where we're not constantly sticking together and everyone's laning a bit more strong?
Yeah. I don't know. We didn't mention it Hungers yet, did we? I think it's the only thing we should mention after one good spread is that the mana restoration has been kind of spread out.
Yeah, and that's your level 7 talent. So they're trying to help you get mana back if you're still having issues come level 7 with It Hungers. And there's always been a balancing act to specking Stukov. It reminds me a lot of old, World of Warcraft when you'd get enough gear to finally bail on all those regeneration talents you had. So you finally have enough mana, your alchemy's high enough, and you just start throwing away spirit like crazy. And that's kind of how Stukov goes. You go level 1, are you going Fetid Touch? No? Okay, well maybe we need to get that mana back somewhere else, right? Cooldown removes its mana cost, so we got to go one good spread to make up for that maybe. We didn't go one good spread. Okay, maybe now we can take It Hungers to make up for that mana. But this is really a complicated puzzle. And with the reduced healing on Bio Kill Switch, I think Vigorous Uptake is going to be your dive 2 for 4 because you're up against that really weird top 'em off and that biotic armor, 50 armor, the initial target, but it's only physical. And that's a relic, and that's kind of what we're battling here. And while these patch notes are elegant, they're fighting the previous battle of what we did to our supports. We made them very individualized. We came up with unique versions of cleanses, and now we're kind of pulling back into everybody's more general, but they have more of a personality. It's a great place to be. We're moving in the right direction. That was a mistake, it seems.
Which was a mistake?
Making things so individualized on the support front.
I mean, we're still not getting as general as it used to be. I mean, I think we're finding that happy medium, right?
I agree completely.
Yeah. And at level 4, like if we're starting to lean more towards vigorous reuptake, I don't think that's going to be a big mental hurdle for a lot of Stukov players to get over. It's already, at least with the statistics available to us, the second most popular talent at that level. So I think it'll be all right.
Well, and a lot of the solo league Stukov experience is based around that virulent reaction where you're going to land that sweet root inside of your own silence. And that's something they're nerfing here by making you have higher value choices with your lurking arm cooldown now. So we're getting nerfed, but not in the direct way that Stukov is having his biggest impact in a Hero League scenario.
I mean, it's only been out for a day. Have you played with him at all? Do you like the changes? Does he feel too hamstringed?
I don't think so at all. It is a numbers game, so really it opens up the opportunities for other supports beyond that. And Blizzard was aware of that, so they went ahead and knocked out some of Lili's power to make sure everybody doesn't just go straight from Stukov to Lili, which, again, is a little league dependent. I'm not going to see that in my league. I'm going to see, I assume, just Lucio's breaking down the walls soon.
Good. I've been itching to get back on Lucio and for it to feel like the team's on board with it.
But Lili, they went after her Cloud Serpent builds, getting rid of that cooldown, but mainly so they could get rid of some of the power on Blessings of Yulon, which is a percent-based heal on a level 16 talent.
Yeah, I mean, it's already... So it went from 1.5% down to 1.25%. That might not sound like much, but when we're already dealing with numbers that low, it's a huge impact over the course of an entire game.
And we don't get that decreased reduction, which means less serpents giving this heal in the first place. So it's a pretty big blow to those things. Otherwise, Lili actually is getting some enhancements. If you really like fast feet, that'll be great for you. If you're enjoying safety sprint, that got some added power in. Just the serpent build, really, which is kind of the alt-clicky, easy one to play.
You talking about Eager Adventurer for fast feet?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not... As fun as it can be to have that duration get doubled, yeah, I think it's okay. I mean, the mana regen, I guess since it's lasting longer, isn't as big of a hit, but I hadn't actually really thought this through. If it's lasting double, we're losing 33. Yeah, I guess overall it's actually better.
So we're making some good enhancements to Lili's diversity. And that really begs the question, where to now? Those were the nerfs. Now it's time for the buffs to complete the picture.
With these specific heroes?
No, we got support buffs as well on top of them. Ana, Ariel, and Deckard, along with a little Morales bump.
Yeah. As I'm not gonna pretend like I'm on a main, but it's my favorite hero to play right now when I get really bored with my usual stable. And these changes excite me. So the big one is just to the trait. There's now self-healing built into Shrike. That's not hero specific. So it is now based off of the damage dealt to all enemies, not just damage dealt to heroes. So if you're laning and spreading out your Shrike, you're going to regenerate off of that.
And this makes her rather regenerative. I mean, you're going to be chasing her, and that lane she was poking a couple seconds ago is still coming into play. It's lasting a full 5 seconds, that poison. So there's going to be all sorts of regeneration you don't expect when you're chasing her down. The sleep dart is still there, all of her old tools. I honestly thought this is what they did last time. I didn't realize they baked that idea into Detachable Box Magazine, which was my favorite because of the traits it eventually gave. I'm glad this is baked in now. I'm not going to be playing Ana. I got heals to right click on people. I'm not shooting anything.
Yeah. It's I don't know. I love it. I love anything that rewards me for taking into thinking and actively reacting to lane. Shouldn't be a surprise.
And in so many objectives, there's a lane right next door. I mean, if you're on Infernal Shrines and Braxis, you could load up some poison in that lane and head on to the objective and use that regeneration. That's a really cool idea and gives a bit more map legitimacy. One of the big problems we're facing in a figured out meta, let's say, like what's been going on for the past 6 weeks or so with Phoenix involved, there are no more map picks left because we all just dive for what we consider to be the strongest or OP heroes, and both teams kind of end up these weird mixes of the two bags that are available in that pool. When these balance changes come back in, we have a very high rise in map picks, things that are powerful with your cool idea in mind. And that could be good for Ana here. And we'll see if it has staying power after that.
Yeah. Yeah. It's also worth mentioning that her healing dart is vastly more mana efficient than it used to be. Going from 15 down to 10. 10 mana for healing dart.
They did add 10 seconds on the nano boost, trying to encourage some of that sniping biz. But there's also some talk, and I think this would make a lot of Ana players very happy, that they're working in the tech perhaps from Overwatch, which has been added recently. If you shoot a high or full health hero, it'll pass through them.
Dude. Oh, that'd be so sweet.
It'd be nice. I mean, like Deckard, there'd be lots of mistakes, of course. Some guy takes a Diablo flame to toe and misses 2 health, and then he absorbs the shot that you wanted to go to the Sonya in front.
It's not
Still
as bad because Ana is in control of where the dart goes, more so than Deckard is in control of who just walks over the potion like a jerk.
True. Escape routes are short, and I'm going that way.
Exactly.
Regardless of the potion situation.
I wish I felt more confident with Ana, because it's a hero whose kit I love. And I don't play that much Overwatch, but I love her here. Can't stand her in Overwatch. I'm a terrible Ana in that game.
I think getting good with these strange supports is really difficult naturally. And something like Ana has a lot of quick match potential, which I think is why people tend to enjoy her and that poison damage, and eventually become good enough to take her into Hero League, and hopefully that can be a viable solo support. They're saying here that they're still seeing her picked up in double support options, and that's mostly it. So there's clearly something to battle there.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about what the hell happened to Deckard. I want to lead with some of the stuff that they mentioned in the dev comments. They said that he's been incredibly successful from a balance perspective. They said internally he's sitting at a healthy win rate between 47 and 51% at high level play, but that they're making some tuning changes that are intended to adjust under and over performing talents. This isn't to increase or decrease his win rate, is the goal at the end of the day. So let's see what happened. Lornado, the cooldown was reduced. It is now on 40 seconds. Like, oh man, 45 was already so short.
It feels like one of those changes that isn't for us at home. Because who needs incentivization to use Lornado? That's weird. Who's landed totally sweet? Stay a while and listens.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know.
I mean, stay a while and listen has a lot of impact. I've seen it used in very focused comps where there's like a Garrosh and Artanis and then 2 supports alongside Decker, and like maybe a Vala, right? Like you're going for something that's really destructive. You want to snag them for all of half a second. It's basically what you do with Ana. You get a snag, someone walks up there, leaping, frames up, and you try to delete that person as fast as possible. It's a coordinated thing. So I get why they would have to maybe incentivize Lornado as it makes its way to HGC, but it seems odd. In fact, when you go down this list, there's some things that just seem straight odd, like Ruby getting a buff. And we're all sitting around, I think at home going, but we love Ruby. This is great. Surely the other ones needed help.
Well, Sapphire did get help. The bonus slow amount has been increased. It got a 20% bump.
It's pretty good.
Yeah. I still don't think I'm going to take Sapphire, but that's nice. That's nice. But then some things got knocked down a bit. Ancient Blessings. The damage was reduced and the healing was reduced.
And as it should be, that was definitely the pile-on kind of ability that was definitely going to be a huge part of HGC.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And then also the level 20 talent. Of all of the changes, this is the one that confused me the least, which is that the Bottomless Flask has had the healing potion recharge rate increase from 5 to 6. Doesn't sound like much, actually a 20% increase. Yeah, that doesn't surprise me at all. I wouldn't be surprised to see if that goes up a little further at some point.
Yeah, that still feels very tame.
Yeah, It's an amazing talent, rightfully placed at 20.
Have you stayed on Deckard?
I have not. No.
There are other more passionate than me, so I've given up the spot as well. Been playing a lot of Tyrael because of it though, and that's been a blast.
Yeah, I've been really enjoying it. Like when I just want to get on, have some fun, play some quick match specialists. Potions are fun as a specialist. Like the Deckards, they come by every now and then. They just leave you a little treat of potions. I push a little harder, go back, refill. It's lovely. But yeah, I like them. I just I don't play a lot of supports right now. I don't know. I can't really pinpoint exactly when the switch happened because if you can remember, I used to play almost exclusively support in the earlier days of this game. But yeah, I'm pretty much like all tank and specialist when I want to have fun.
Makes sense. Double tank meta, right?
Yeah, there's just room for it, right? And Sonya's still open, and they're going to be, I think, more open after the changes we're going to talk about here in a little bit. But before we leave support land, let's talk about Morales. Not very many changes here, but a big change to Trauma Trigger at level 4. The cooldown has been halved. It used to be a minute. It's now 30 seconds.
And for our supports here, that is a full 30 armor. So protection from all types of damage.
Yeah. Extended Care also had the range bonus reduced, but I would chalk that up to fairly minor compared to Trauma Trigger's change.
Well, and it's a late game talent. I mean, Extended Care is really nice. They're trying to incentivize you to go on to other talents there just because, hey, being in the back even farther away is good on Morales and safe. So at that point, 16, things are already either going your way or not. I'm not going to worry too much about that on my Moraleses. They did go through and also touched up Ariel a little bit and gave her back some of her hope she's lost. They really can't decide where they want her hope generation to be, but I get it because we're always changing our damage dealers, our batteries. How do you balance the one balanced on those?
Yeah, I'm not too sure. I mean, as I've mentioned, I think in the past 2 episodes, Ariel is a healer that scares me. Not in the fact that I'm worried. I am worried. She's the type of healer that when she is in the meta, she shapes it rather drastically. And in the last time that we were in the age of Ariel, it was not a meta I was particularly fond of.
She also doesn't have a cleanse, so she does come and go with that as well. Granted, not a lot of heroes left with a cleanse on their kit. But she's an odd one. You think about Malfurion, people are always saying, oh, Malfurion's anti-dive. He can take care of himself if it comes to it. You got people in range for your Moonfires. You throw out a little lawn under your feet and run away. Ariel's got Detainment Strike, matching a cooldown with Genji. She has Crystal Aegis. Like, those should all be great tools for her. But really, if anybody makes the huge mistake of early drafting an Ariel, we just load up on the dive and we don't care. Aegis goes off, and it's not a diva bomb. We all just stand in it and kill her when she pops out.
That is very true. So I don't know. I mean, do you want to see Ariel come back? Can you think of a way that you can make her work?
I think the best way to make Ariel work is to continue to work on this energized chord idea at 7, what we're doing here, and give her her own ways to generate her hope. Being reliant on other heroes will always make this a very difficult balancing act. You have things like Abathur, of course, that lost the ability to access heroics for this very reason. It's just every time they put out a hero, they have to consider if Ariel's going to be too much with them. So let's put that generation back onto her maybe a little bit. Yeah, we can share that around. That's a big feature of her. It's a big feature of her active play, but also limits what map she's available on, too. There's some good touches here, though, like I said, and even adding on the repeat offense 25% further knockback is going to mean you actually complete that quest, which means you do greater damage, huge damage. Repeat offense is the way to play Ariel in a more solo queue environment, along with your energized chord. Take every talent that ups your damage so you generate that hope back to yourself, and you don't have to worry about people around you. And we're inching there, and I'm excited about that.
All right. I saw a couple this week. I've had maybe one game with an Ariel since they started kind of tweaking her. I've had a couple this week, and it felt good. I mean, I'm talking quick match, so this wasn't some old school solo Vala battery Ariel comp, but it was working.
I think too she needs something outside of the whip, and I'm talking like Ghostbusters opening. The librarian. Like that's the problem with Ariel is you see her standing there and she's all wispy and she's like shh, and then you say get her. And you get her. That's all. You just charge her and you get her. But she needs to go blah and scare the crap out of children in the room, like myself when I saw it originally. And I think that's the way to balance it.
She needs better dive protection, right?
Yeah.
Negating a single diver on a cooldown based or cooldown restricted skill shot. There's too many holes there. There's too many holes in the armor.
And it's a requirement on the type of heroic you take. So we'll see.
Man,
we'll get there.
I gotta say, I love having these little nerdy conversations when we talk about like the lore and the feeling and what feels like it should be on the kit. If Brightwing didn't have Emerald Wind, that type of ability just seems like it should be on Ariel. Like she's dual wielding these ribbons. She seems like she should do some type of spin that controls an area.
And it could just be that I'm without this knockback distance on repeat offense. I feel like when Ariel dismisses me, I'm fine. Whereas Brightwing, if I dive Brightwing and I haven't been watching polymorphs cooldown in my head, I am going to get destroyed. And Sonya's and Chen's and ETC's and everybody who's not gotten base armor is going to explode when they get hit by polymorph.
Yeah, and I don't want them to take any of the stuff away from Brightwing, but it's hard not to make those comparisons when you look at heroes like this. It's just like, why do I have to work so much harder for significantly less return on Ariel when I could just go and play Brightwing? I mean, granted, you're getting burst healing like crazy compared to Brightwing, right?
Well, and that's where a lot of our, I guess you could say, more aggressive conversations in the community come in, is when we're applying this conversation onto others and we're saying, I know that you could do this job easier with X hero, so why are you subjecting me to Ariel? And that's where people start to get overly mad, and why we see Ariels in quick match who are very skilled but unwilling to go into that ranked drafted environment.
Yeah. Well, before we move on,
that's a conversation to have, right? I mean, we're talking about Brightwing already. There's a number of heroes. Let's ignore Tyrande, Tassadar, Kharazim for this conversation, because they're still in like that hapsy zone. We're not sure what's going on there yet and what the plan is for them.
I have no idea what's happening with any of them, maybe, except Kharazim. I've actually been really happy with some Kharazims lately, but Tyrande and Tassadar, I'm just like, seems like a quick match only thing right now to me.
We got Brightwing, we got Lucio, Alexstrasza, Uther, and Rhaegar all are untouched by this balanced pile. And by pushing down Stukov and Malfurion, that's going to leave room, particularly in the AoE take care of a whole team over time kind of area. Like, that's a big deal when you mess with the types of healing. If we nerf Uther, that's a buff to Rhaegar, because Rhaegar has such powerful direct healing with his ancestral healing. So when we nerf the top two team healers, AoE healers, I think we're going to be diving straight into Brightwing Lucio. Hopefully it's all balanced and even, and all four of them are perfect.
I would be very okay with that on a selfish level, because I would much rather play Brightwing or Lucio than Malfurion or Stukov.
Sure, I like playing Alexstrasza. She's a lot of fun too, and she can pull it off, sort of.
Do you think it would be crazy to suggest that Alexstrasza's AoE heal just pop faster?
I don't think that's a problem if that would happen. No.
Yeah, because it's a double-edged sword. Like, because your own team has to react to it. Like, maybe you can actually land the heal on one specific person more easily. That is true. But anyone else that's not within it is going to have to react to it. And it's just, but it also is true of the opposing team. If they're keeping an eye on it, even if it's faster, if they have faster reaction time, they're going to get rewarded for putting their skill shot in that circle.
I think ultimately Gift of Life is the problem with Alexstrasza and its interaction with Abundance in the end. Gift of Life costs you 15% of your current health. In Dragon form, it doesn't cost you anything, which is a great ability of that. And that's why we all end up going Flames of Fury and then the various Flame Buffet builds, because we want more dragons so that it's not costing us team fight advantages in order to continue healing our teammates. The real problem is I put out a Gift of Life on my tank, then I throw it out in abundance for the team, but guess who needs it too? I do. I have to walk forward. I have to stand as the support in the circle where all the tanks and everybody else is and where all the AoEs are landing. And that's a little wrong, maybe.
Yeah.
Giving up health like that is a really cool idea. It's a great World of Warcraft idea. And it was born during a time of double support. And maybe that's why this needs to go.
Right. I hadn't thought about that. You're absolutely right. God, things have changed that much since November.
Oh, yeah. That's why the Diablo stuff is so scary right now. Having a big rework that we're going to be talking about later, because Diablo is a symptom of a Garrosh problem. He is there to delete late game Garroshes and try to survive long enough to get there because Garrosh has so much early game power. We're getting rid of Devastate Charge, his percent-based damage. He will do damage into Garrosh's armor. He won't counter him anymore. And that's scary stuff.
Oh, now you want to make me just jump ahead to Garrosh.
We're getting there. He is a part of this meta conversation, so let's go ahead and get to it.
All right, let's just start with him because I don't think the changes are enough.
All right.
The Groundbreaker, stun duration reduced from 3/4 of a second to half a second. It ends up being an over 30% decrease there, which is not enough in my opinion. And then the slow amount has been increased from 35% to 40%. And then at level 16, Rough Landing had the bonus slow amount reduced from 15 to 10, minus 33% there, if you're wondering what that equates out to be. Kyle, about a month ago, maybe even longer, before the show and during the show, you said to me, Garrett, what the problem with this is that Groundbreaker is the exact same length and distance as his toss and is just too easy to execute, and that's still the case.
It is. And the stun duration is a nice touch. We're moving our way out of supplying that much stun and allowing Blaze to charge up in the back and then land that stun. If I'm Vala, I've got now maybe some wiggle room to get out of there. But Wrecking Ball does a number of things on top of it too. It does damage. It slows them by 30%. And then now you throw on top of that a 40% slow. Granted, the way CC stack is they cancel each other out, so you don't take 30%, 40%, 70. No, you take 30%, 40% is stronger than it. Now it's a 40% slow. But that slow hurts a lot. And in fact, what I've seen based on this 5% change is that people are doing old Garrosh. They are slamming, stunning you, and then walking all the way over and grabbing you and tossing you backwards, where you are then again slowed by 30% for 2.5 seconds. That's a ton. Any slow that is over 20% is huge, and any duration over 1% or 1 second is huge, right? So combo that with the ease of use, combo that with his early game power, what appears to be a lot of top damage too out of Garrosh in the early game, and then his level 4 Indomitable, which if you aren't using the old style, you're using the new style, where you just pop Unstoppable for a second and a half, and you go, here I come, and you just walk in there and get who you want, toss them, and then slam them. It's crazy town.
There's not enough risk with Garrosh. And on top of that, like everything you just talked about, chaining the stuns, it's a huge tell. It was a huge tell before, and it's still a huge tell now. The other 4 members of the team that are with Garrosh know exactly who to target.
And then you throw a Warlord's Challenge on top of it. I mean, I'm being passionate here, by the way. Garrosh is not ruining my world, but I am very scared as a Diablo player this season because I am losing my anti-Garrosh powers in a lot of ways. Not all of them. Like Malthael, of course, has anti-Garrosh powers because he does percent-based damage. He's now a Last Rites Malthael. But the other benefit of Malthael is you have Wraith Strike, and anytime you get tossed, you can teleport over to something that you'll have to mark on. So there's a good way to recover your position back over that wall if you end up somewhere too dangerous. those things, those kind of interactions are still powerful. Those are going to be great counters to this new, really kind of unchanged Garrosh.
Yeah. Are you tempering your response? Because I feel like in your brain, like for the last month, you've just been like, stop talking about Phoenix. The problem is Garrosh.
I'd like to say that it's all, that ease of use, that the range matching is where we can fix this, but that's not going to solve an HGC problem because then they'll just aim better. So we have to counter bigger ideas, which I applaud Blizzard for going after this there. It feels so weird for modern Garrosh to be in existence when I feel like we really went off after Taunt Varian fast, and his stun charge and his following taunt that left people locked down for, I believe the total was 4 seconds. And now I'm looking at Garrosh and seeing 4 seconds.
Well, it's not as easy as it was to just charge as Varian, but...
Right. But you're grabbing multiple people with the taunt, and it's just so, like, the weirdest part about this is we've had games where I've been playing a lot of Nubarak too. I'm a Nubarak, and I'm solving the puzzle. I'm like, Hanzo's is close to top damage. Maybe he's been poking this whole game. Ooh, Maev's over there, and through trial and error, I started putting the Garrosh in the cocoon, and that felt so wrong when there's a Hanzo beating everybody's butt and Maev doing all her business and flipping around. But it's the Garrosh that's causing the most destruction and actually the highest damage in a lot of those kind of comps, and it's bizarre. But it's all early game power, and that's what's so scary about it. And in a solo queue environment, this applies to Phoenix as well, in a solo queue environment, winning against Garrosh in the early game can lose you the late game because everybody learns the lesson. We can kill Garrosh when we're 2 levels up. They win one team fight, they get 150% more XP for those kills because you're 2 levels up, and now you're even level. And now everyone's still attacking Garrosh thinking he can die. But he's reached double up at 13, doubling his armor amount, and there's no way we're getting through that. There's also some graphical errors with Garrosh. If you double up and Morales hits you with an armor, or if Uther hits you with an armor, it completely covers your base armor. It doesn't add to it. So if I am fighting a Garrosh, and there's a Morales over there, and she hits him with 25 armor, he has a 25 next to his name, not the 50 and 75 total that is kind of sitting under it. So I might be mistaken to go, he's vulnerable. Vulnerable, right? He's got 25. He only has 25 armor. Get him.
Well, that is a vulnerability for a character like Garrosh.
Definitely. And to the Phoenix point, I think that Phoenix's shields are causing a lot of his own issues in his win rate. I think I see a lot of higher league players opening aggressively into Phoenix with their spells and Shalamano, and then you go, Bwah! And you're like, yes, he has shields. And there's this part of your brain that goes, he's so squishy, there's no health left, but that shield goes ignored, and so you put all your bursts into a regenerating health source, and then he comes back at you kind of like a Muradin, but with Phoenix level damage.
Yep. Yeah, I think you're absolutely right. You need to... The onus is almost on the Phoenix player to make a mistake and engage with lower shields to begin with so that all the cooldowns are actually going into permanent health.
Right.
But, hey, speaking of Phoenix, he got some sizable nerfs. We're talking like base level stuff. Health regen, shields, and shield regen have all been reduced by roughly 5%. Actually, all of it is 5% except health regeneration is slightly less, but across the board.
Buff to Raynor, though.
How is that a buff to Raynor?
Because Phoenix got his basic attack basic attack range reduced by 0.25, which puts it on par with Raynor.
Oh boy. Raynor's got to be feeling great knowing that he is now equal attack range as Phoenix.
Actually, he's feeling damn good. He is the highest win rate assassin, and in total, all heroes in Master League right now.
Well, that's the problem still stands with Raynor. Like, you need to concoct a political campaign to convince people to play Raynor.
Right. Too true.
But
of course having fun with that, but it is a big deal, and reducing those ranges mean one less hit as you run away, coming over that wall at you. The warp range has been reduced as well, and the cooldown has been increased, which is a big hit.
Yes. Yes, it's very noticeable, by the way. If you've played any amount of Phoenix or just have played this game since his release and have gotten a feel for how often he can warp away and how far he can warp away, more specifically, like I don't care nearly as much about the cooldown increase as I do the range reduction. That change from 11 to 9 in that range means, depending on your hero, you might still have an ability that can just complete that kill, that little bit of health that he gets away with, that thing that for me is that pit in the bottom of my stomach, which is the feel bad that comes with Phoenix, is that escape when you're like, oh, I almost had him. But now he depending on who you're playing, or depending on the location of your teammates, you might be able to complete that Phoenix kill now.
There's going to be a lot of mistakes, too. I saw a lot of very good Genji players take Dragon Blade this week and end up just a few pixels off because of that reduction on their Swift Strike range. And that Dragon Blade was safely behind bars as we kind of laughed at it and it couldn't access us. Phoenix is going to feel this too. You know, you're going to mess up a lot of your warps. There's also a slight buff in here, though. There was a bug fix, and I thought this seemed a bit odd. Salvo, this is where you're one that locks on and then shoots all the little mini missiles.
The one that it seems like every Phoenix I play against now takes.
Yeah, well, it's massive damage. You're dealing like half the health pool of your enemy assassins, and the tanks all go, oh, I'm being attacked, and pop their self-protects, and the supports go, I'm going to die, and heal themselves, and the assassins are kind of left out in the open for that one. It's a great ability, and Planet Cracker is oppressive, but I think Salvo rightfully has the better win rate. Any knockback, here they use the example of Raynor's penetrating round, to mess with Raynor again, was canceling the salvo entirely, which is something I noticed repeatedly. And now that won't be happening with knockbacks, salvos will connect more often. But kind of like Garrosh, I have my own ideas about how Phoenix should be balanced a little bit.
Well, lay it on me, Kyle.
I don't know about y'all, but every time I see Plasma Cutter going, I stun him, and it does nothing. There's something about Plasma Cutter, and it looks active spinning around him, and I feel like if I put a stun in him, that thing should stop.
It should. It really should. I don't understand why it doesn't. All I can think of is that the devs really like that little unique factor, and that's why they're going after everything but, it seems like.
I mean, we've been getting bug fixes as well, where things like, I think it was Void Prison wasn't stopping the spin from happening, the Plasma Cutter from doing its damage, and now that's frozen. But I still think if you're inside like a Chromie time trap, you still have that spin going, which is kind of weird. It's not a part of him. It's more like a temporary summon, a buff that sits with him. So yeah, I wouldn't want it to be destroyed. That's complicated. Right,
but it does seem like it should be interrupted. To me, it seems so analogous to a spin from Sonya that I just really don't understand it.
Yeah, maybe that's where it's coming from, right? That's a great counterplay option to something like Sonya that is very oppressive. And our brains are saying this should be viable. And having counterplay is something we're working in this game constantly. That's my request.
I think that's very fair. That being said, I don't disagree with these changes here. I'm still very, very pro the range reduction on warp. That makes me happy. Hanzo got dinged further. Basic attack range has been decreased by a factor of 1, 7.5 down to 6.5 for over a 10% decrease there. You feel it. You feel it as a Hanzo.
Yeah.
And it
these
feels,
are all good changes.
Yeah. Feels a lot better, by the way, playing against him. It feels like he has to actually put himself a bit in harm's way. The Hanzo shouldn't have to... He should feel as exposed as Kael'thas, in my mind. Natural agility. The range was also decreased from 10 to 9. And then explosive arrows at level 4 had the area of effect damage reduced from 100% down to 75%.
So all good changes, and certainly sniping the big talent that everyone was taking at that level, regardless of, which sort of spell you love the most. There's still a lot of Overwatch play, and now an old style Overwatch play since they fixed it, where Hanzos are really watching those corners and waiting for you to walk through the bush and expose yourself so that all your serrated arrows can go into one guy. Serrated arrows wasn't touched here, which I think left a lot of people upset about Hanzo recently, wondering if this is the right balance move. I think getting him to expose himself a little bit is great.
I mean, he's already half topless, so.
Yes, it's true.
Do we need to just full topless? Is that what's going on with Hanzo here? Is that what you're suggesting, Kyle?
I like that we've cut back the armor reduction. Getting rid of this jump range is a good touch. The win rate is awful. 45% across all leagues, of course. So it's one of those oddball ones. There's a lot of things, of course, in this game that just feel bad to play against, and you're just like, no, we got to weather the storm. Let's get through it. We're going to win in the end. I feel like Hanzo's a constant performer across the game, and the stat doesn't encapsulate that.
No, I don't think so either. I'm also curious, like, he's been completely overhauled in Overwatch, and I'm wondering if that's going to be brought over here.
I mean, I'm only aware of the serrated arrows. Sort of, you can't aim it at the ground into one guy's head as he walks up the hill. What happened to him?
You mean Scatter Arrow?
Yeah.
Yeah, Scatter Arrow has just been replaced with a new ability called Storm Arrow. I mean, that's the big thing, because it's such a key part of his kit in Heroes of the Storm, and was in Overwatch, that they've now replaced it. The other things I don't think actually translate to Heroes of the Storm as well. Yeah, like they changed his projectile speed. I guess that is something they could do in Heroes of the Storm, but why would you?
Right, because you always get in those weird scenarios with slow projectiles where you're running home and the thing's right behind you. And you're like, no.
Right. Lunge got messed with. Sonic Arrow had a bunch of like cooldown, duration, and radius changes. And that's all stuff like that's balanced for Overwatch, and the way Sonic Arrow works in Heroes of the Storm that's its own balancing act. It's just Storm Arrows versus Scatter Arrow. It feels like such a big piece of what makes the hero, right? This is an entire ability. It's not that it like damage or projectile speed have been messed with. The way the ability functions is completely different.
I'm really curious to know what would happen to Hanzo if we got rid of Battlefield of Eternity. And it is not his highest win rate map. In fact, that kind of speaks to us as a population. It's his highest pick rate map by far, but his lowest win rate map overall. So you can assume that people are saying, kind of like the old Vala situation, do you play Vala? And the guy goes, yeah, I play Hanzo. All right, I'll do some Hanzo. And you blow up when the Immortal stuns you, because it does do massive damage for that tiny health pool, and you get stunned forever.
Yeah. Yeah, you won't ever catch me taking Hanzo into there. I like playing Hanzo. No. He's really grown on me, but that ain't happening.
He's my lowest level character.
I think mine's still Lost Vikings. I think it might still be level 1 or 2.
Hey man, all they got to do for Lost Vikings, it's super easy. Zergling, Roach, Hydra, man. That's all we need. And you can even have their little faces sticking out pajama style, you know?
Oh,
I know it doesn't work. Eric would be the Zergling because he's fast and he's ranged, and let the Zergling spit. It's fine.
They need that for all 3 races. So you can sell any StarCraft player on Heroes of the Storm by just showing them that hero with the skin for the race that they play.
Yeah, you got like a fire bat. Well, I guess you got to worry about Blaze a little bit now, but you could put him in the old tights Wolverine getup.
Yeah.
You know, that with the bike helmet. What the heck was original Firebat wearing?
I don't know.
It reminds me of old Pyro from X-Men. He was an embarrassment.
You could go the Hellbat way too.
Yeah, more mechanical.
Yeah, more mechanical. Have a so it's not just a bio ball.
Yeah. Bio ball. Yes.
I guess we would also need a medevac trailing behind them, but that's neither here nor there. Anyways, moving on. Maiev also had across-the-board health and regen, 6% cutoff. Basic attack damage was reduced, 150 down to 145. It's only a little over a 3% reduction, but again, over the course of a game, that's going to add up. And probably one of the most noticeable things is that Vault of the Wardens now has 1 more second added on to its cooldown.
This is all preemptive in my mind. Sure, Maev's running a little amok, but we've been too busy banning out Phoenix, and since our focus has been there, people have put time into Phoenix. People get rewarded through the game system by seeing that they are MVP at the end of Phoenix and not Maiev. But this really is smart. I really respect what's happening here. It's a shame for Maiev people who are just like, please let me play. I'm having a great time. It's not too OP. And I agree. You're not too OP, but this is where we're going to go. This is when you nerf Hanzo, Phoenix. This is where everybody ends up, is on Maiev next. Now, with Maiev nerfed early, maybe we all end up on Chromies, which is its own problem. But I think we got rid of the obvious next step.
Yeah, no, this is what you said at the very beginning. It seems very much like they're taking into account how one change affects all of the others. Who knows what order they went in? Like, what was at the top of the list? I bet it was Phoenix, but who knows?
This change to your Vault of the Warden takes you... Originally, when we talked about her, remember, it was 8 seconds, and we were talking about how you can dodge every flame strike in the game. Now you're dodging every corruption, every blizzard out of Jaina. So we moved up in the war. That's still fine. We just have to prioritize different spells.
That's still really powerful. It's better than fine. Like, getting out of blizzards, getting out of corruption, that's disgusting. The fact that to think that we ever lived in the world where it was 8 seconds, that's banana town. Like, good lord. Minor changes, Tracer. You can now see her recall destination. It is now visible to enemies. I didn't think it needed this. I felt smart when I saw Tracer recall and knew where she was going to be.
Totally. And I am happy to free up the mind space. I've got other things to pay attention to. And much like seeing, because remember we used to have like text that said, Falstad's flying, and you're like, oh, all right, where could he possibly go? And now you see a little circle. It's kind of nice. You blow up Falstad. He sucks. It's great. So you can prep, you see a little Falstad circle, basically. It's not like an illusion of her being like, haha, which is, it would be cute. But it's a good change, and I've got so much to pay attention to. I welcome it.
Fair enough. I just think it's a minor thing. I'm like, I don't think we needed this necessarily. I'm not going to complain. It makes my life easier. I don't play that much.
We'll see the impact.
Yeah. Medivh, Arcane Explosion, the bonus area of effect damage was halved. It went from 100% down to 50% of the damage prevented by force of will. So keep that in mind, Medivh players. We talked about Garrosh already. Let's talk about Sonya.
Again.
This makes me sad. Level 4, Hurricane. The cooldown reduction was doubled from 1 to 2. Sweet. However, Shot of Fury was moved to level 7, and Battle Rage was moved to level 4. So this means no one's taking Shot of Fury anymore, in my opinion.
Were they anyway?
Yes, I loved that talent. I loved it.
You have to imagine too. I live with a very stubborn Sonya player who goes life funnel every time because damn it, I'm going to spin on top of them or else. So maybe Shot of Fury was pretty good, but not in the circles I trot in.
Yeah, let me just Shot of Fury. Yeah, I mean it wasn't the most popular, but I took it all the damn time. Or sorry, not Shot of Fury. I'm thinking of Battle Rage.
Oh, Battle Rage is great, and that's the puzzle they're building here is that you have to get to level 7 in order to do your 25% bonus damage to mercenaries. Not needed. Per se. Sonya's fine, particularly with the stutter stepping kind of changes that we had on our giants and whatnot. She'll get through. But those activatable charges for 10% of your health were really nice at level 4. That's not the first team fight. That's not the first merc camp at 4 normally. It's really close to it sometimes, depending on how you've been soaking. This is really going to come into play around that maybe more important secondary or third objective.
Yeah. It just, I mean, it's making choices. I'm a little excited to start picking up Hurricane again because I really wasn't even. There were multiple games where I probably should have taken it, and I was still like, no, Battle Rage. I'm still going Battle Rage. So it makes level 4 kind of a no-brainer for me. I'm sure as hell not taking Shattered Ground, and Shot of Fury is a crap talent in my opinion. It just level 7 just hurts now is all. But I think it's fair.
I like Hurricane a lot with this change. Originally, it removed slows and roots from Sonya when you activated Whirlwind, so we used it as a counter to Zool. When was the last time you had to worry about Zool versus your Sonya? He's making a bunch of skeletons for you to heal off of. Real bad idea in that matchup. But now you got 2 seconds added to the off the cooldown when you take this, so now you're countering normal stuns and other things that would interrupt your spinning. And level 7 is a really tough choice between Battle Rage, Life Funnel, and Poison Spear.
I think it's still Poison Spear. Like overall, like we can have a conversation about when to take what, but I think give this a couple weeks to shake out, and we're going to be looking at still a ton of games with Poison Spear picked over the other talents.
We'll have to see. Poison Spear does that poison damage when you connect your Ancient Spear. Well, your level 13 Mystical Spear now reduces the cooldown only if you do not hit heroes, if you use it only for that sort of escape or mist engage kind of way. So you're not going to be pumping super duper reduced cooldown bonus poison damage like our old build was. Granted, it was like something like 2 seconds off. It didn't make the biggest deal in the world.
Right. I mean, you will notice this. I don't think this one doesn't bother me really at all. Actually, I think this is kind of fair.
Yeah.
And as someone who uses Mystical Spear as an escape when things go awry, I kind of like this. I hesitate to say that because I'm sure there's a lot of Sonya players who disagree with me, but I actually like this change. But
I'm curious to see if this will mean more Wrath the Berserker play because you're moving in and out. I've certainly seen a huge rise in the past 2 days of Wrath the Berserker, possibly unrelated.
I've been taking it quite a bit for the disable duration reduction.
Certainly we're in that kind of meta right now. And if you end up going non-battle rage, the bonus damage is nice for taking merc camps. You maintain it for long enough that you get it back after doing a bunch of merc camps. We could really see that take hold.
Yeah. And then just when you thought we were done with meta heroes, Thrall. We haven't talked about Thrall yet. And he took some hits. Chain Lightning damage has been reduced by just under 9%, 178 down to 162. And then the bounce damage was reduced also by just under 9%, from 89 to 81. So Chain Lightning damage down just across the board, whether it's the main target or the bounce target. Also at level 1, Rolling Thunder no longer increases Chain Lightning's range. It has a new functionality. Hitting a marked enemy restores 2.5% of Thrall's maximum health. And then finally, Frostwolf Pack, the quest requirement was reduced from 7 to 6 hero hits.
So what's really interesting about Thrall here is they've given him a good pile of options. Granted, there are those you will meet who are very aggressive about Crash Lightning still. It's still darn good. And kind of like Alarak, yeah, you can solo, but maybe better that you're rooting people in range of allies in that 4-man lane and that you're stacking up something powerful for the later game or even the early game damage, but certainly the prioritized bounces with Crash Lightning. There's a bit of a Hanzo problem going on with Thralls too, where everyone's like, oh, we got to get that Thrall, but actually it's all poke damage. We can heal that off easy. We don't need to cocoon him in those sort of team fight scenarios. But I really like Rolling Thunder because it's universal. Maybe that's our Battlefield of Eternity talent if you were stuck in that solo lane. And you still got your long-term solo lane, maybe your Dragonshire talent with the Echo of Elements.
Yeah, I've been falling back off the Thrall train personally. None of these changes surprise me, right? Like they didn't have them on their list as, meta, but like all of these changes down the line, all the way down to Thrall, all of this makes a whole lot of sense to me.
Like Maiev, this could have been one of our easy Phoenix, Hanzo, Maiev gone. Well, I guess I'm playing Thrall all the time, and they kind of nipped that in the butt.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Thrall's prowess seemed to have come out of nowhere. I mean, when he first started taking off again, it was on the back of a couple minor changes. But you're right. It's this sculpting kind of feel. It felt like, if you push in on Stukov, the clay's got to move out over on the side of Lili, and they're like, nope, we're using we're using both hands here to sculpt this at the same time.
Well, and then Tychus is a reaction to Blaze. Thrall is a reaction to Diablo, maybe even, because the heroic pile there, and then you got pile up on heroic. Let's put Jaina in the meta. And so we'll see where we end up with all this, but it's going to be somewhere new. Let's talk about, though, briefly, what isn't a part of this. Obviously, Diablo, we'll talk about him later. Genji just got adjusted, and lots of people are saying he doesn't need that bonus health, but he's in a good spot now. One of the big ones for HGC right now is Junkrat, basically a long-range spellcaster with high damage, who also brings a little bit of crowd control, but mainly a self-escape. In particular, I think it's a level 13 talent, where if you bounce yourself off, cooldown, ripped air. Cooldown is reduced by 12 seconds if it only hits Junkrat. So that allows you to have a lot of mobility and clear a lot of terrain and be really dynamic.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I would expect to still see a lot of Junkrat, still see a lot of Genji. But shall we talk about some mages?
Yeah, exactly, because Junkrat's staying where he is, but we're moving up some other mages in the world, perhaps. In particular, Gul'dan here is getting a huge buff to my favorite lazy man's playstyle.
Well, Glyph of Drained Life is gone at level 1. Chaotic Energy has some tweaked functionality. The Drained Life's range is now being increased by 25% if you take Chaotic Energy. Regeneration Globes restore 50% more health and mana. And then the reward for collecting your 20 Regeneration Globes reduces all mana costs by 20.
So this is how it used to be. It's been slightly reworked to incorporate in this regen globe bonus and the health range, the drain life range. If this playstyle takes off, I will be 100% a Gul'dan player. I love drain life. I love someone being like, I'm killing you. And you're like, no, you aren't. And you just drain their life out. It's great. Then you horrify them. I like walking around and not caring about my corruptions being the most high value things in the world, which I think is the thing that since release, Gul'dan's bummed me out a little bit. Same with Thrall. I don't want to feel like, there it goes. 12 seconds till I get to do something cool again. Nah, you should have some cool spells, but you got to pad out the in-between feeling cool too.
Yeah. I agree. Gul'dan never clicked for me. This the Chaotic Energy going back down this route definitely piques my interest.
It's a fascinating conversation, the drain life or life tap conversation going on right now, because it's being removed from World of Warcraft, this next expansion. People don't worry about mana in that game anymore. Your prowess is really shown through a spell rotation. And here, reducing the mana cost of your abilities, if you're supported, what's the exchange there? And that's where we have no idea where Gul'dan's going. This is a lot of math. If we're tapping less often, does that mean that we have a greater impact on the game because we're not pulling healer resources? This may be huge, or it may be completely ignorable. And actually, Kael'thas is kind of the same way. These changes could be huge, but we might ignore them because standardized talents are really good too.
I'm way more lukewarm on the Kael'thas changes. But yeah, I don't know. I'm definitely gonna try some Gul'dan for the first time in a while because of that. Just the chaotic energy change alone.
I mean, you got something cute, and let me share with you my cute idea. You can't go too cute. You got to take Horrify. It's just what you do. The new skin, Rain of Destruction, looks like Infernals, but they don't turn into Infernals. You have to control yourself.
Oh.
I have to control myself. Chaotic Energy, 25% increased cast range, keeps that going and connected for a long time. So pick a fight where they think they're going to win and then lock onto them, particularly like a Vala who vaults forward and you just go, no, you don't. And then hook yourself up with the level 16 Darkness Within. Whenever you life tap, the next ability Gul'dan cast has 25% increased spell power. That is a blast.
Okay, sweet. I will try that, Kyle. You want to talk about Kael'thas?
Let's do that.
All right. There's some, I think, rather minor things here. Energy Royal got it now passively reduces the mana cost of Gravity Lapse by 70. I still have to have that increased range.
Increased range means increased speed on the projectile, but yeah, people walk away and you want to catch them.
Right. And then Sunfire Enchantment. I'm actually really excited to see this getting any attention at all. But the spell damage has been reduced from 165 down to 115. But the number of empowered basic attacks was increased. It used to just be your next basic attack. It's now 2 basic attacks get that bonus. And if both empowered basic attacks hit enemy heroes, you gain 15% spell power for 10 seconds. How excited are you, Kyle Fergusson, the man who could probably spend a 3-hour episode just talking about how mages need to be landing their auto attacks about this?
One of my favorite troll topics as a coach, if you will, because it's a very World of Warcraft thought, right? Let's lock on. Let's make sure we're performing auto attacks between our spells. Don't cast them so fast you ruin your own animations. But as many people will tell you, and certainly you'll see all throughout Gold and Silver and Bronze, there's the loopies that are a lot more powerful and safer to do in those leagues, where you throw a spell out and then you go hide for 8 seconds till you come off cooldown, spinning around somewhere in the back, and then you come out, cast your spell, and then go hide again. It's a great play style for maybe your Chromies and Li Mings, but you do have an okay auto attack on your Kael'thas and your Jaina's, and in a team fight where you're safe, it'd be nice for you to let them fly. This, I feel like, though, is a talent that if you were easily tilted, you might want to stay out of the game for a little bit. Like this is a seductive 2 attacks with greatly increased damage over his normal auto attack. So let's see. At level 7, you are doing 82 damage in auto attack, and this can cause you to do 115 spell damage for those auto attacks. Pretty nice.
Mm-hmm.
If you hit both,
Twice.
you get that bonus 15% spell power. It is up against Burned Flesh. Burned Flesh, a giant killer at level 7 that deals 8% of their maximum health if you hit 2 heroes at once with 1 flame strike. Guess what you'd like to do with most of your AoEs? Probably hit 2 heroes with them, wouldn't you? Guess what's the easiest thing to punish in this video game? Well, people standing pretty close together, isn't it? So I did pull this earlier. We played a game together. I played a Kael'thas.
Yep.
I did Sunfire Enchantment. Due to the map we were on Dragonshire, so I was able to reliably, from behind a wall, get out these 2 auto attacks, be enhanced, and then lay into them with my spells in particular.
And we were behind the whole game.
Oh, yeah.
The whole game.
Horribly behind. But Phoenix is snapshot DPS. So if I have, let's say, a second left on 15% increased spell power and I cast Phoenix, that Phoenix is out there in the world summoned when I had 15% spell power, at least how we understand it. Sometimes these things change balance to balance. That's powerful. And as your flames, your living bombs go off all around, and each of those enhanced by 15%, we may enter a world where that's preferred. But first, are they not standing together? Okay, then you get to go Sunfire Enchantment. But why did you take Kael'thas in a game where people weren't standing together? Like, here we've kind of doubled back and you made it harder for yourself in the first place problem.
Because I'm still a true believer in the living bomb build for Kael'thas, and I like this better in that build.
Well, then you should be very happy about the re-inclusion of a certain horrifying talent called Ignite at level 16.
I am actually not.
Actually, it's rather tame.
I would rather have Twin Spheres for a living bomb build.
So you can double your Sunfire Enchantment.
No, not even that.
Dear.
Just getting 2 free living bombs.
Sure. With the enhanced auto, you got to get those auto attacks. I mean, if you
Right.
cast 2 Verdant Spheres back to back, you're gonna run over your own auto attack bonuses.
right.
Yeah,
So you're gonna have
value, man. You gotta go to Value Town.
Yeah, but you can still get value out of the 2 Verdant Spheres before the cooldown, whatever the case is.
Sure.
Yeah, Ignite bores me to tears, Kyle. I'm not sure why you would take this.
So I did this in our game as well, and it did, again, feel like a bit of a detriment. Flame Strike applies a living bomb to the nearest the enemy closest to its center, who currently is not affected by living bomb. So you have to understand.
This is back, by the way. This isn't a new... They say it's a new talent. This used to be in the game. They removed it back in August of 2015, Kyle.
Yes. Our horror at this particular talent is very unfounded in a modern Kael'thas world. Originally, a living bomb, if you cast a secondary living bomb on top of it, it would set off the living bomb underneath it instantly. Original Ignite applied 1 living bomb for every target inside of a flame strike. If they already had a living bomb on them, it would go off, spreading it to the guy next to him, spreading it to the guy next to him, setting off the one he already had, spreading it to the guy next to him. And you would instantly 1v5 a team. And it was horrifying.
And plus, we would do this on enemy minion waves coming in. We would just, instead of trying to double our living bomb, we would just double it up on a minion, which would instantly explode, instantly spread. It was gross.
Oh, we were ruthless, and I taught this style constantly back then. You would put a living bomb out on a lane minion, and someone would walk close to it. It's 3-second duration of it burning then popping. But if you cast that secondary living bomb, it would go off at will, and you could spread this around like wildfire. That's no longer a factor. This now puts out one living bomb onto a target. It'll be a DPS increase. You're not denying area like you do with Fury of the Sunwell with the 2 casts. You're certainly not squeezing in that last-minute convection I know you guys messed up with a Fury of the Sunwell, and you're not doing that with the Ignite here. So it's fun. I've seen it hit hard. We'll see. I think we'll still be in the same build.
Yeah, Fury of the Sunwell is just too good.
But it's nice Arcane Dynamo's removed, and that we have this new talent that is seductive. And I do wonder with Phoenix going, if this is like the red herring. If they're like, if they basically came into the balance room and they're like, guys, our math is in. It's going to be chaos. Everyone in the low leagues bans Phoenix. They won't know what to ban next. And they're like, well, how about we buff Morales and Kael'thas? They're like, excellent. That'll be the bait. That'll be the ban bait. They'll just ban that and everything's fine. There won't be any confusion as to what's going on down there.
I don't think Kael'thas is going to get banned.
Oh, he's constantly banned in bronze and silver.
Really?
Constantly.
Okay, I was not aware of that.
It's a lot to pay attention to. It is. And the barrier between silver and gold is basically paying attention. That's what makes it so difficult to talk about. Is silver, we're all like, get good, own people. Heroics, activate heroics and slam them into faces. But in gold, we kind of like, and now add nuance to it. And it's like, well, what does that mean? So, well, think about everything. Well, what does that mean?
You pick one thing, work on it, and then move on to the next goal, and then work on it.
Exactly. You say, this heroic's most dangerous. Oh, they suck with it. This heroic's most dangerous. Oh, they're good. Let's continue to interrupt mosh pit kind of thing.
Yeah.
So
you need to pick your targets.
He's got a lot of power.
Yeah. In theory, in a vacuum, I really like Ignite. The flavor of it, the thought of like, yeah, I landed my flame strike, and now you've got a bomb on you. But yeah, just am I weird? Am I weird that I would even take Twin Spheres over that talent?
A little, but if you're gonna get out sweet auto attacks, man. I mean, we'll see what Pyroblast looks like with 15% increased spell power. Who knows what's gonna happen? But I feel like to have the most instant impact, I still want to do Burn Flesh and a Fury of the Sunwell. Good competition, though. I love it. This is great. Keep these creative talents flowing.
Yep. Well, before we're done with this patch, hey, dude, one of our loves of this game got buffed. Tychus. Tychus has been lifting, man.
Got a nice little cooldown reduction, overkill, some mana back on that, which is huge because overkill is actually great lane clear. So Tychus can be part of a great rotation, can quickly visit a lane and clean it up and then get back to busting tanks and whatnot. Fully loaded's out, so it was okay. Some people took it. And Bigger They Are now has a bonus to it of reducing minigun's cooldown by 2 seconds, which is just a great feature for that particular talent. If you're confused as to why they would possibly buff Bigger They Are, it's because the secret's been figured out. In the rhythm increases your minigun duration. That's the stuff with it. When you jump into Odin, you cancel your minigun. That automatically activates the heal that you were sitting on at the end of duration. That's why In the Rhythm isn't touched here and why Bigger They Are, though the one everyone says they want you to take, the one that everyone's into, the meta pick, is getting the buff here. It's a bit of a secret.
I've always been a fan of Bigger They Are. I love the 2 second cooldown reduction on minigun. It really just feels like it's always up when you need it to be now.
It's huge. This is really encouraging for Bigger They Are because Bigger They Are, you burn down the majority of the health on, let's say, Blaze, and you take him out of the fight, he is not going to participate. He's got to go sit on his flames and feel better about himself, which means you can then overkill, grenade, and move on to other targets in a double tank meta. In a full-blown single tank, 4 DPS in the background kind of World of Warcraft tank meta, we would do something like in the rhythm because we just want to kill that one tank, and when he's dead, the whole enemy team falls to pieces. In double tank meta, take out a tank, there's still another one left. It's not as pretty. This makes Tychus so much more viable in this current scene.
Yep. Well, let's just keep on trucking. This is not part of this patch, but it will be coming soon. A Diablo rework coming in the next patch. You already talked a little bit about it, but let's continue. Flame Stomp is now like shotgun conal aim it style. Sell me on this. Is there any way this is better? Because I don't see how it's not just straight up worse than it used to be.
It definitely feels like the shotgun word was very well selected by the writing team, because everyone who doesn't play Diablo that I know went, ooh, and I'm like, no! This is a huge blow to the uselessness of Flame Stomp. I'm dead serious. Flame Stomp is great because it's useless, because it gives sight and a little bit of AoE damage. The main reason you use it is to see through the bushes in front of you, to look on the edge of some terrain, and that's what made it so powerful for Diablo. With the range on his From the Shadows shadow charge at level 4, you could react to the information you received from a full around you stomp and then bringing that back in. Now it's going to do more damage. It's going to fly through a cone, almost like a cone of cold target. A couple flames go out, and then they come back for triple damage, which is seductive. They've definitely included that part for me. But I think I'm going to lose a lot of my battlefield awareness, which immediately makes me go, Hanzo! Hanzo, why do you still have sight on your arrow and Malfurion and others don't have sight in their supports? Like, we're really limiting our sight options now. And I feel like that's a bonus of taking a Diablo.
So this video hasn't been out long. I didn't count the amount of flames. Are there more flames coming out in that small section than there used to be in that section in the circle?
All
it has
I've got
to be,
here
right?
is summon fire waves in all directions, and I've never counted. So
I was about to say, you know what? I'm looking. I just Google image search the old one. Yeah, there's definitely more flames in the now pie slice than there would have been if you had just taken a pie slice of the circle. So that's how it is technically better.
Right. We have a very high chance to hit the people out in front of us. We also don't have a lot of stealthies running around, so Flame Stomp's old drag it kind of sideways strategy wasn't working anyway. This will be still powerful against that. You know, what I'm concerned about is we're all running away, and I'm trying to keep an eye on the enemy chasing me, and I've got to turn my butt around, slam that way, and then turn all the way around again and start heading in the right direction.
Welcome to the world of Arthas, Kyle.
Yeah.
Enjoy.
Right. Poor guy.
Still makes me mad. Still makes me very, very mad. But you're concerned with From the Shadows, right?
The big one I posed and actually got an answer from one of the live balance designers, so I really appreciate that. Thank you to Alex Naiman for reaching out to me, getting me an answer on Devastate Charge is gone.
That's what it was. Sorry,
yes.
not From the Shadows. The Devastate Charge. Yeah, that's. I mean, I'm sure it'll be mentioned in the rundown, right? All we got was a video. We don't have anything in paper detailing every single thing that's happening in here. What
we do know from the live balance designer's tweet back to me is that Devastate Charge, which dealt percent-based damage eventually up to 15% damage, which is why you were counting those Garroshes, those Muradins, those Johannas in the late game, is now becoming a base amount of damage. Flat damage. So you will no longer be blowing up tanks and ignoring armor.
All right. We understand your concerns. They have been noted. And I agree.
But there are other things at work here, which are very interesting. In particular, they really went on to note how Flame Stomp or other talents like it are going to supply souls to you and going to supply actual health healing, not regeneration numbers, like straight up healing back like you would on many of your other tanks, like Varian, they went through recently and added his Lion's Fang gets a heal on it. So now you may be flame stomping in a team fight and getting souls back and getting some healing for that. That means you don't have to go farm that lane. You're not as butcher dependent as you might have been. And that's been a big blow to Diablo for a long time. His survivability in this current meta, we just kind of accept it, and Diablo dies. It's a huge blow to his armor. I'm curious to know what'll happen with his spell shield armor at level 7, if that's still going to be around. Getting souls from team fights, though, is a great change, and healing yourself as a main tank is huge. Huge. That allows so many different kinds of supports to run alongside Diablo. The reason why we run Rhaegar is because he's got some nice spot healing. He's got a great shield based on the total health of the guy you cast it on at level 13. But really, it's ancestral because nothing else in the world heals Diablo.
Yeah. Did you see the indicator for Shadow Charge?
It's nice.
It's a sexy little piece of UI.
I like that a lot. And I know a lot of people avoid getting on Diablo because of the challenge of understanding where people are going to end up with a Shadow Charge.
Yeah, I'm trying to think about how it works in my head. I guess if you're using Quick Cast, you have to hold it down to see the angle.
Oh, that's a good point. Maybe we wouldn't. Yeah, that'd be cast on release. So
yeah,
I guess quick casters wouldn't get this feature.
Yeah, you might see it like blip for half a second, but it's not really going to help you.
That's really more of an art in the first place.
I would agree. But
getting rid of that barrier to say, hey, like the grubby tier list, he recommended Diablo to people, and people are like, oh, sweet, Diablo seems cool. And they get in there and they go, how does this work?
How do I Shadow Charge?
Yes.
Which I'm not making fun of anyone. I'm legitimately asking, how do I Shadow Charge?
There is actually seems to be an old bug that's come in this version of the game to watch out for Diablo players. It looks like your body can get stuck on terrain while you push that character past, and maybe even other units are getting you stuck. This is the old bug where you would outdistance someone from overpower range by shadow charging. So be careful drafting them out there.
That is problematic. Oh,
It is.
So it's in the game right now?
Yeah.
Oh, so that might explain the Diablo that was tilting me earlier. I'm like, how are you missing these overpowers?
Right, and he was doing really good combos too. A lot of Diablos are missing their overpowers right now, and I think that's what's going on again.
All right.
It's a very tender piece of code, obviously.
Must be. I wasn't complaining to the Diablo personally, but as you heard, Kyle, because you were the only one who could hear me, I was yelling into my office.
One of the other big things that's happening here is that the charge range talent is gone, and you will no longer get armor when you charge on Diablo. Instead, you will get movement speed, which reminds me a lot of what I assume is a gone talent now, Speed Demon, one I like to take for repositioning and getting off good dominations. I don't know if domination's in anymore. This is the one that allows your overpower to reset your shadow charge. They said in the video that there is going to be a talent that gives shadow charges. That won't get confusing. Team, I've got 2 charges of shadow charge. Let's charge.
I mean, you could just say I have 2 charges ready. I wonder if you ping it, if it'll just say how many you have ready.
I don't know if it does that actually on charged abilities.
I've never tried it. I don't think it does.
I've never been on Genji and been like, guys, it's okay. I have 3 sets of shurikens. Nobody needs to know that.
Well, Kyle, I've never taken twin spheres at 16 and then pinged my trait, so I'm just trying to elicit a reaction. Wonderful. Okay. So this is going to be coming in with the next patch, which one might assume is a new event.
Yes. We're going straight from Dark Nexus to Lucha event. Awesome.
It looks like you can't see the full name in the teaser images, but it sure looks like it's called Nexomania.
Oh, nice.
So we've gotten 3 images now. One of a Chihuahua wearing a luchador mask, which seems so excruciatingly targeted towards me that I can't express my excitement enough with words. But as an owner of 2 Chihuahuas, I'm very stoked. And then we've gotten a bunch of heroes in like wrestling get-ups. So, like Luchador Garrosh seems like a no-brainer and is in the second teaser image. And then we also got like Lunara and Sonya, and I'm ready for them to just give us a damn video already because this looks really fun.
there might be an update video coming tomorrow with this content, so we can look forward to that. But for those Lunara fans out there who've been waiting on a skin, it does feel like we are making the rounds. And we heard earlier in the year that we would be focusing on doing events around our skin releases. Gul'dan, Alarak, so many people are getting touched after a long time, and I'm excited to see, will we see those Lost Viking skins? I wanted some Blaze skins too, though he's newer.
Yep, I just want a Chihuahua mount, which has been confirmed.
Apparently, also, the Lucha Diablo has amazing lines.
Ooh, sweet. Yeah, I wasn't able to find the tweet earlier. I saw it earlier in the week, but one of the Heroes developers confirmed that every skin we see teased in these images, as well as the Chihuahua from the first image, are going to be in the game.
Yeah. So that's pretty cool, particularly to combo it with a Diablo rework. And we're also expecting a Lunara rework. And Gul'dan just happened, so maybe he ran a little late, but he was supposed to be part of Dark Nexus, you know?
Yeah. No, I think it's all great. As far as events go, like this is the kind of like fun cheese I really enjoy. So bring it on. And then no HGC until June 9th, but that's okay. Heroes of the Dorm is this weekend, Kyle.
It is, and it's all pretty high caliber stuff from everything we're hearing. So I look forward to checking it out. But it's interesting to go back this far in my head. Esports used to live and breathe on independently run tournaments by Dr. Pepper and just whoever you could get money from enough to put together an MLG. For the first time in a long time that I can remember, there is a for fun wacky tournament going on with a prize pool, actually, called Lightning Fast, coming from Tempo Storm and Heroes Hype. This may not be your cup of tea. It's going to be insane. They're going to be always at faster speed with infinite mana. The important part is it shows that there is money available in the scene right now for independent tournaments. And that cannot be said enough how big that is.
Yeah, and experimentation. Like this is not a standard tournament, as you mentioned. And it's got some good talent behind it. So that kind of stuff is great. I want to see more of it. I really do. I want to see more folks. Like if you have a tournament idea, chase it down.
And that'll be going down on the 19th. So kind of help weather the storm until HGC starts back up.
Yep. Well, go and enjoy it. We got links to everything we just talked about, by the way, in the show notes. If you've never checked out the show notes before, head on over to amove.tv/ITN. Click on the post for whatever episode you want the show notes from. Today is 216. At the very bottom, you'll see a link with sources to everything we talked about today. So go check that out. I think it's going to more or less wrap up this episode. This is a meaty one, Kyle.
It was. And the chat's been having a great conversation, too. Something we didn't think about is how this is going to really affect the solo lane. Thrall gets new options, Sonya taken down, Rag not touched, Malthael not touched. Like, this is going to be sweeping. But it is so cool that they had so much forethought in this particular balance patch. And if we need to wait those 3 weeks, it will be tough. I love solving new puzzles, but this feels like a really good flow.
Yeah, wow, now you make me think I think Rag is going to be back.
Oh, yeah.
Why wouldn't he be? I think the heroes have been, Sonya and your Sonyas and your Thralls have been knocked down just far enough down a peg. I don't know. Whatever the case is, that Ragnaros might see a resurgence.
And specialists, maybe.
Joy of joys. I'm going to be back on Cigar. That's what I'm going to be doing. Before we go, we have hundreds of very special people to thank over at patreon.com/ITN. That is where you can go if you want to support Into the Nexus with money. That's where it's Into the Nexus is free. It's always going to be. But if you want to support it, patreon.com/ITN is an opt-in way to support the show. every month. You can pledge $1 an episode, $2 an episode, whatever works for you. It all helps. We're trying to get back up to our goal of what is now called the Pro Opinion, but that's the goal that we hit, where we started bringing Dunk Train on the show and paying him for his time. We've fallen below it, trying to hit it again. So if you like our show and you get value from it, you want to give us some value in return, patreon.com/ITN. Some of our newer patrons, thank you to Christopher D, John J.P., and J.S. Thank you very much for supporting the podcast. Also, huge thanks to our producers, Declan H. and Cheesy Bob. You both are extremely generous, and we really appreciate the support. To everyone else, if you want to catch us live, Thursday nights are the place to find is the day to find us. The time to find us is 5 p.m. Eastern, and the place to find us is twitch.tv/amovetv. If there's ever a schedule change or we're announcing guests or anything of that nature, you should follow us on Twitter at ITNcast. And we got to thank Gorath for our intro music and BrianGriffithMusic.com for our outro music. Before we, tie this one up with a bow and call it done, Kyle, where can everybody find you?
You can find me tonight doing the Patreon Bonanza. I'm really excited about this. We meet up once a month with our patrons here at ITN and get to play some Team League. We stream it on this fine channel, twitch.tv/amovetv. It's going to be going down tonight at 6 o'clock. There are signups. There are slots. We had such a great time and such an easy time conducting this last time. We actually extended it. So part of that Patreon, part of those benefits that you get is joining us for that Patreon night. Really looking forward to hanging out with you all. And I'll see you soon.
Yeah, right after dinner. I'm Garrett Art on Twitter, amove.tv for all of the other podcasts. 2 different Embrace the Spoilers feeds up right now. One just called Embrace the Spoilers. You can find the Infinity War spoiler episode right over there. Embrace the Spoilers Westworld is the other feed where Jocelyn and I are currently spoiling Westworld episode by episode as we move through season 2. Kyle and I also have a morning show on Mondays called Week Sauce. We missed this week because Kyle, you were sadly sick. I'm glad to hear that you are better. But if you want to hear Kyle and I really just joke around, have super nerdy fights, and the goal of it is to try and make each other laugh, go and subscribe to Week Sauce. All one word. Week is spelled like days of the week. WEEK sauce. Look forward to seeing you over there. That's going to wrap it up for episode 216 of Into the Nexus. Until next time, good luck and have fun.
Take care.
Sweet. All right, chat room. We'll be back in 2.5 hours for the Patron Bonanza. Gonna be streaming some Team League. Gonna have some comms turned on. I'm gonna have a cocktail in my hand. It's gonna be a good time.
Oh, yeah.
But I need to edit this, post it, and then eat. So stream is going down. See you later.
Sweet. Bye, everybody.